How do you empathize with someone's issues and still stay healthily, emotionally uninvolved? How can you be feeling the other person's pain and yet not make it personal? I always wondered how every psychiatrist must take vacations often. They've got to get away. Otherwise, they're going to need a psychiatrist. So they take vacations very often. They also have a limit how many patients they're going to handle in the year. You've got to limit it. So at a certain point, they don't take any new patients. The Rebbe never took a vacation and had no limits to how many people he's going to empathize with. How did he do it? How did he do it? The Rebbetzin told people that the Rebbe generally, as a rule, slept 3 hours a night. But when certain painful things were going on, he didn't even sleep those 3 hours. In other words, he was affected. The question is, that's all? It just disturbed his sleep? How did it not crush him? How did he not lose hope? Hearing so much suffering, so much pain from every direction, every kind, and empathizing with it. Did the Rebbe have this professional detachment? He was able to stay separate? I don't think so. One way of doing it is this. There is no limit to how much pain you can feel for other people. You don't limit that. I will empathize with you up to a certain point, and after that I really can't care. What makes the difference between being crushed and cracking up or not depends on where you place your hopes. A therapist that feels that it is his obligation to heal the patient is not going to be able to survive it. The person who feels, I need to empathize. I can't fix problems. That's God's job. So if I empathize and I try and then the person doesn't make it, I know in whose hands this person is. So there's no limit to the empathy or sympathy. There's a limit to the responsibility you take. A doctor, for example, involves himself completely, thoroughly, emotionally, mentally with saving the patient. Well, what happens if the patient doesn't make it? If the doctor then goes home feeling guilty, he's going to crack up. But if he goes home feeling every patient is in God's hands, I thought I could help, I tried to help, God decides, he's not going to crack up. And he doesn't have to stop caring. He doesn't have to stop feeling. That's not going to hurt him. That will just make him more human. Make sense? So it's not that you need to be emotionally uninvolved. You need to feel that it's not up to you ultimately. You need to place the responsibility where it belongs, not the empathy. It's not like I will empathize to a certain amount and then God has to empathize. You empathize completely, and then God decides whether the patient is going to make it or not. So it's the responsibility that crushes people, not the empathy.